So you have this very interesting thesis that's taken you years to sort of develop into where you are now. Your first sort of, like I said, the first gut or worm-derived medicine that's now in phase 1 trials in humans. And the idea is that, as I understand it, is that there are millions of years of coevolution between gutworms and humans. And in fact, there's even a very interesting historical example where the Iceman in King Richard III had the exact sort of same gutworms living in their system. So they've definitely been around for a long time, and there is this symbiosis that's involved. So what exactly is your hypothesis? And because you're also a PhD MD, so you have some real bedside evidence that you saw when it came to gutworm presence and autoimmune disorders like asthma and that sort of thing. So what is the hypothesis, and how did it lead you to where you are now?
People have this misconception that, people that are living in very rural areas, right, are the only ones to have roundworms or gut-dwelling worms. And, even the king of England had gut-dwelling worms. So it was pretty widespread. And it has been with us as we were our early human ancestors through the time of King Richard III and Otzi, the Iceman, and, to modern day, probably up until the 1900s, when that's when it was more common to get rid of them because we thought they were gross. So I think that if I were to speak about the significance of that, the significance would be that, we see them as foreign invaders, but could it be that they are actually part of our human biology and that they always have been up until the time that we removed them? So that's the new perspective that I would bring in.